The Garden of Eden operated under a baseline of perfect, effortless physical and spiritual harmony. Humanity enjoyed a seamless connection with the divine, and only one absolute law governed the space: do not eat or even touch the fruit from the tree in the center of the garden, or you will die. But a subtly disruptive intelligence was present. The serpent isolated Eve and immediately attacked the certainty of that single rule. It suggested that God was holding out on them, promising that eating the fruit wouldn't cause death at all. The fruit offered a dual appeal. Eve saw that it was good for physical nourishment and pleasant to look at, but more importantly, she believed it was a mechanism to obtain divine wisdom and elevate her status to be like the gods, knowing good and evil. Acting on this perceived benefit, she took the fruit and ate it. She then handed it directly to her husband, Adam, who was with her, and he consumed it as well. The text states their eyes were opened. This was an immediate psychological fracture, where the blissful ignorance they had lived in evaporated entirely. The pursuit of divine wisdom had a direct, unintended consequence. Reaching for godhood traded an unburdened existence for a life defined by the sudden awareness of human limitation. The first symptom of their new knowledge was a sudden, crushing awareness of their own nakedness. For the first time, they felt exposed and vulnerable. They frantically tried to conceal this new sense of shame. Gathering fig leaves, they sewed them together to manufacture rudimentary aprons. The tone of the environment shifted drastically as the cool of the day set in. The Creator's active presence entered the garden, walking among the trees. Before, this presence meant open communion. Now, hearing the voice of God triggered absolute terror. Adam and Eve actively hid themselves deep within the foliage, terrified of being seen. Acquiring the knowledge of good and evil failed to grant them the promised divine power. It simply introduced fear into the human psyche, triggering a primal instinct to conceal their true state from their Creator. The first divine interrogation began with God directly calling out to Adam, asking where he was. When Adam admitted he was hiding because he was naked, God zeroed in on the broken law, asking exactly who told him he was naked and if he had eaten the forbidden fruit. To shift culpability, Adam pointed directly at the woman God gave him, blaming Eve for handing him the fruit and implicitly blaming the Creator. Eve then pushed the blame further down the line, stating the serpent deceived her into eating. God addressed the serpent first. It was degraded below all livestock, cursed to move upon its belly and eat dust all its days. God then established a state of enmity, a deep-seated mutual hostility between the serpent's offspring and the woman's seed, a prophetic reference to Christ. The text promises a future conflict where the serpent will bruise the seed's heel, but the seed will permanently bruise the serpent's head. The consequences assigned to the woman were severe. Her sorrow and conception would be greatly multiplied, making bringing forth children a painful process. Additionally, the marital dynamic was reordered, stating her desire would be toward her husband, who would rule over her. Because of Adam's choice, the ground itself was cursed. The effortless ecosystem of Eden was replaced by an environment that would actively resist cultivation, naturally producing stubborn thorns and thistles. These sentences rewrote the operating rules of the world. Survival would now require constant effort, reflecting the friction and resistance inherent in a mortal life. Adam's ultimate physical consequence was the necessity of raw survival. He would have to extract his food through the sweat of his face and arduous labor, keeping him alive only until his inevitable death and return to the dust he was formed from. In the wake of this, Adam formally named his wife Eve, identifying her as the mother of all living. God then replaced their fragile fig leaves with heavy coats of skins, providing durable, physical proof of their new mortality. The divine logic for what happened next was critical. Humanity had obtained the knowledge of good and evil. If they stayed, they could reach out, eat from the tree of life, and live forever in a corrupted, sinful state. To prevent this, the Lord God physically drove Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. They were sent forth to till the uncultivated, harsh ground of the outside world. At the east of the garden, God established an ultimate barrier. He stationed cherubim, powerful celestial guardians, alongside a dynamic flaming sword that turned in every direction to block the way back to the Tree of Life. That flaming sword stands as a permanent threshold. It signifies that the pursuit of forbidden knowledge permanently traded the innocence of Eden for the arduous reality of the human condition.